Woohoo! And we're live once again on another Tuesday. And I have a friend in the house today because we are doing a topic about friends. Why not have a friend in the house today? So Tristan is here. And Tristan, I'm going to let you go ahead and introduce yourself, and then we'll just get stuck right in.
Yeah, no, for anyone who doesn't know me, my name's Tristan Griffiths, better known as I'm Tristan G across all the socials, and I'm the Chief Inspiration Officer at In9.media.
That was brief. That was great. That's
well
great.
Practiced, well versed.
That's great. Okay, so our topic today is celebrating friends on LinkedIn. And we kind of came up with this topic because Tristan is kind of famous for doing this. He's even got the hashtag to prove it. And actually, before we kind of start, we'll talk about sort of our do's and our don'ts and our suggestions and what's a friend and what's not a friend and all those different things. But Tristan, can you just kind of give us the sort of backstory of how you even started with your hashtag and where did this all come to for you?
So for me, obviously, we're a digital marketing agency. We remove the overwhelm from social media content creation and live streaming. And one of the things we do when we're talking to people is one of the most common things is they're not sure what to post, when to post, how to post, and things like that. And reminding people that it's social media, so staying social, staying conversational. People panic about having to always talk about what they do, their products, their services. And when I literally live and breathe what I'm talking to other people about, the celebrate friends thing is, it's really easy to get so overwhelmed with all the things you're doing yourself in your business or for your own brand that you forget to take check on what's going on around you, the people who support you, the things that are happening in your industry and within your network, that it's actually this whole source of content, like talking about great things other people are doing. Like, we're a digital marketing agency, and like you'll catch me talking about other people who some people would see as like competitors. Obviously, there's enough business to go around. You and I both know that. We work in similar fields, and we understand that actually celebrating what other people are doing, it really shows that true character, that who you are. Ultimately, people do business with other people, and you want to show up as the best version of yourself. And one of the things you can do is show that you actually genuinely care about other people. So I regularly, and Gillian, you'll attest to this, is I drop messages to people saying, how can I support you? How can I encourage you? Things like that. And also, what have you got going on right now that I can celebrate? So I actually actively seek out, have you got a course? Are you doing a launch? Have you written a book? Are you speaking at an event? I mean, a really good example of this is Gus, Guru, is actually speaking at the B2B Expo in Birmingham. I'm speaking at a couple of the other ones. I think I'm in Oxford and another one. But seeing that and not getting, a lot of people fall into like jealousy and not celebrating other people because they think it, like Gary V says, it doesn't come out of yours. And it's true, there's enough to go around. That celebrating someone else, raising them up and talking about what they're doing is never going to take business away from you when you do it right. It just shows you have a really good, honest character that wants to be the good person, really.
I love that. I love that. And I know before we went live today, we were talking sort of in backstage in the green room, so to speak. And we were talking about how your network is like everybody who follows you and everybody that's connected to you. And then there's your sort of your inner circle, which is your friends. And those are the folks that you can reach out to and just say, hey, something strange is happening with my profile. Is this happening to you too? Is this, or even noticing when you're away, you're sick or those type of things. So there's so many different things that make friends. And then the opposite of friends is the people that are the lone wolves on LinkedIn. They get in, maybe they're just using a scheduler because they bang out a post and it's almost as if like they're just pounding stuff out there and you're kind of going, okay, are you going to Twitter, Instagram, Facebook all at the same time? And you don't interact with anybody. And then there's the people on the opposite side who are in pods. And I think the one thing we want to really be clear on is friends are not pods. So, you know, pods are like an agreed upon, to be honest with you, I've never been in a pod, so I don't even really know the rules. But from what I understand, that's kind of like, I'll do your post, you do my post. And with my friends, it's like, I will check in on my friends, see what they're posting, see what they're doing, but I'm not necessarily going to comment on every single thing if it's not relevant, it's not a topic that's pertains to me. And I also don't tag people randomly, like, oh, I'm just going to bring Tristan into every single conversation unless it's relevant to what you do business wise, or I just know that you would be interested in that topic. Correct?
Yeah. Well, that whole thing about friends, like I have an incredible story from the weekend. We were just chatting about how I've been away for the weekend, first weekend away, staying in our camper van, and I'd gone 5.5 hours from where I live, you know, visiting family. And the first night out, we managed to get the camper van dug in on the mud. And I thought, what, you know, most people get upset and frustrated. And I thought, oh, they couldn't have broken down in a better place. I've got a friend who runs a farm here who can get a tractor and pull me out. So I just rang him and he came, and because I've known him for 20 years, he didn't want anything. Obviously, I wanted to give him something to say thank you. And it's that awkward moment. Like I was trying to give him something. He's like, dude, I'm your friend. We're 20 years friends. I don't expect anything. So, but, you know, he came and helped me out. And so that genuine connection, that genuine friendship and things like that, remembering who those people are. There are tools actually, you know, like you're creating a Twitter list so that you can go and actively look through what those people are doing. You might use the starring and messaging over on LinkedIn. It's obviously not following the profile, but it's to go and check in with regulars. You can go to those messages quickly and find them. And we even have bookmarks. I have like a note in my Apple note just as a reminder. So sometimes when I'm scrolling, looking for something, oh yeah, I need to do that. And also even bookmarking people's files. So if they're very active on LinkedIn, for example, create a bookmark of celebrate friends or whatever, and then bookmark their profile. And then once a week, once a fortnight, once a month, go through that and just have a little look and see what people are doing. The other thing is, as well as talking about it, showing your character, who you are and who people would do business with if they came to do business with you, it also is really, really good to check in, see what people are doing. And you can be inspired by things. People go, oh yeah, I never really thought about doing that, when you've seen something someone else does. So it's a constant source of inspiration as well for you.
I love that. I love that. And I think that's so true that, you know, I ring bells. I ring the bell. You know, I really wish there was a way that I could kind of go and make sure whose bell have I rung. So that would be on my wish list for LinkedIn. Please give me a list so I can see that. I don't know if you have that with Twitter, but that would be nice with LinkedIn. But I know that I've created a bookmark that will bring up a few friends at a time. I don't want to bring up too many because I'm on the free version of LinkedIn, and that's the quickest way to get like hit with a penalty if you open up too many tabs at once. But those are all good things of, you know, keeping in mind. Plus, another thing that I think is really important about friends is when you travel, you can go see people. So it's like when I went down to Phoenix, I was able to see Russ Johns. And so we went out, we had fish and chips, and it was really nice to go from the virtual space to live and in person. And when Teddy Burris came to Las Vegas, he wrote me in advance, said, hey, I'm coming to town. We met. We went out for fish and chips too. So there seems to be a commonality there. But that's good.
Yeah, I had the same thing. Obviously, good friend of both of ours, John Asperian. My sister lives in Swindon, and whilst technically Swindon's in England, he's in Wales, and it's like 2 towns across down the motorway. It's like I can jump on, I can be there in like 40 minutes. So John said to me when we went to go meet up, and I said, oh, we should have a catch up. I'm in the area. Like I wasn't really in the area, but when you're as close as I would ever be when I'm at home, and it made sense for me, and I had a gap in the calendar. So he couldn't believe I'd driven there to go and just, have a coffee and a catch up and grab some food. But that's what happens when you build that real connection, that real friendship. And those are the people that you're going to talk about. They're the people you're going to celebrate. They're the people you're going to check in with. And you mentioned this, and it's something that rings true and actually happened to me today, because I've been traveling a lot. I've posted a little bit less than usual because I do post quite a bit normally. And I had someone check in with me, and you said it, when you've got really good, genuine friends, they should notice if you post less or you post something that's out of the norm and things like that. And those are the people who are the real friends, because we have connections, we have networks, and there's people who just want to do business, but the real friends will actually remember, they'll check in. And I joke about this, that I have a terrible memory. Like I don't pretend to remember everything. I've found good ways to remember. And like our CRM system has an entry in it for how do you take your hot drinks. And like I brought this up at a talk recently, that's the guy who ran the event. I've been to his office, we've talked, we've never actually been out for coffee, but we've had coffees together in the office. And I literally stopped my talk and I looked at him across the room and I went, "You drink an oat milk latte, don't you?" And he was shocked that I knew it, because I'd never ordered it, we'd never been out together and had it, but he made it in front of me. And I know how important the individual small detail is to building a friendship and building a connection. It's good. It's a good tip. So I would save that and put it in my CRM system, so that when I'm going to meet them, I can look it up. I know, I'm not saying I remember it, but I care enough to go and look so that I can then have that drink ready on the table. Or that I can say, "Oh, you're having your usual," and then they go, "Oh, wow, you remembered it," and I'm like, "I didn't, but I care enough that I looked and I checked." So
I love that. I love that. And I think when you go the extra distance, people do notice that. They do, I have my thanks to you. I have my little StreamYard duck, and I recognize when people go the distance for me. And, we talk about our competitors. And if you're from a position of scarcity, it's like you don't want to make friends with your competitors. But if you come from a place of abundance, you do. And a couple of months ago, I had a situation where somebody asked me to do a job for them. I couldn't do that job because it just didn't work with my schedule, but I was able to recommend 2 competitors that were my friends, and one of them got the job. And I think that's a really good situation too, where you really think about, if you get to know somebody, if I'm to refer out a job, I want to make sure that person is not going to drop the ball. And if I don't know you personally, maybe I can't really attest to it, because I've never, you're my competitor. I've never actually hired you. How would I know you do it? But if you're a friend, I have that sense of, yep, if when push comes to shove, that person could really get the job done. And I think that's really important.
we've just done the same. We've just put a couple of people forward for like a tender that came up where we're associated, so we couldn't be involved, but obviously they need someone with our kind of skill set. So we looked in our network and we put those people forward, which is interesting to be able to do that. Referring the business thing is I think it's important. Like there is the whole scarcity thing. Like as an agency, we do content creation, and actually we've built our model that our best customers are other agencies, because they might build strategy but don't want to do the content, and they're like, we've built it in a way that it really works, it really connects. And some people like, we just can't even understand how you do it at the cost prices that you do and stuff to work, but we've built it so that it can work with other agencies, so that we can collaborate a lot more. In fact, we actually even ran a conference called Collab Club, like pre-pandemic, an in-person event, and it was all about bringing people together with skills that complemented each other, everybody being involved. It wasn't our event, it was an event where everybody collaborated and came together. And so hopefully, fingers crossed, we might be bringing something of a similar kind of nature as a little cheeky preview. You didn't even know that one was coming, Gillian, so a little exclusive. We'll work on something that, if it all comes off, there might be something new coming there. So keep your eyes peeled for that one.
Awesome. That's great. And one thing that I know is incredible about, sort of celebrating friends is when you go to a live event like this, because I was at a live this morning before I got up early today to go to a live. And when I was on the live, we were all saying hello. We were there for the speakers, but we were also there chatting amongst each other. You can drop a comment. You and I are often on the StreamYard, Sunday night at 6 p.m. Pacific time, which is what the middle of the night for you. And
2 a.m.
Oh my gosh, 2 a.m. See, that's the good thing about friends. You ignore time zones. You just don't even care about the time zones. You'll get up in the middle of the night, you'll get up in the middle of the morning. It doesn't matter. But that's a good thing where, you talk about social audio, you talk about LinkedIn Lives. These are ways that you can network and make friends with people. And if you see somebody, say hello, like their comment. These are just little teeny things that can make people feel like they're being seen. And I think at the end of the day, I think that's really important because we can't always attest to people's mental health. And people can be struggling. And oftentimes you can get on social media and you can feel very invisible. So having somebody who just likes something or drops a comment, whether it's something you posted or on your live or something, that really means the world to people. Do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that inner circle and the people there, obviously there's some psychology behind how many people you can have a genuine connection to, and then there's like your outer, and that's what's important, is making sure that you're quite conscientious about who the people are in that inner circle. And one piece of advice I'm going to give here that's a little bit against the grain to what people usually do, especially in the digital marketing world, is actually find some people that are outside of your world as well, like outside of the digital marketing sphere, because it's the reality check that you don't get. It's a different insight, because I say it, we've done things where we've run campaigns successfully, getting into accessing millions of people. And people say, how did you do that? I'm like, people who do the same thing think the same way as a general rule, and you want someone else to say, why do you do it that way? What if you did it like this? And that's where you make real change. I did a campaign when I was at uni that reached like 3 million people, no budget. And they said, people asked how we did it. And I said, I had 13 people involved at the core level. And one of them, literally their job was to say, why do we do that? And if you couldn't explain why, we didn't do it. So like knowing why and having someone go against the grain a little bit, it causes a bit of friction, but it makes you not just go with the flow. Because again, you can fall into habits of, well, everybody's posting carousels, so I'm going to post carousels. And it's like, you might hate creating carousels, have to do it. Maybe you don't like going live, but you don't mind pre-recorded. So find the flow that works for you. And also find people who encourage you and support you.
I love that. I love that. And I know that when I first got on LinkedIn and, sort of several years ago, I didn't know very many people. I had a very, very small network. And I thought, how do I get to know people? So then I thought, maybe I'll just find some friends. Like I thought, it can't always just be about, oh, I want to sell and find customers. So I began to think about, what are the things that I'm interested in as an individual that has nothing to do with the business that I offer? And I love to read. I love books. So I began following other people that also like to read books and talk about books, which again, it has nothing to do with video. It's just a shared passion. And I also, on my hashtag, or not my hashtag, my headline, I put that I'm an INFJ, which is my Myers-Briggs personality type. That is something where if you kind of know it, you know it. So it's like somebody will see it and they'll say, oh, they got me if they're also an INFJ. And I've actually had people connect with me only for that. And we have nothing else in common business-wise, but we got to know each other. And again, it gives you feedback outside of your industry. So that was a great tip, Tristan.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the detail of what's the commonalities and things like that. Like I literally didn't even drink coffee before I went to Australia. I spent 3 years there and I come back now. It's slightly off camera. You can't probably quite see it, but I've got a t-shirt on that says powered by coffee and love. And it's funny because I wear it all the time. Like it's a t-shirt I saw and I went, that is so me. Like I love supporting people, encouraging people. I literally send voice notes. If I'm like, right, I've got like half an hour, got some time to kill, maybe I'm waiting for a doctor's appointment or something like that, I might just literally just send voice notes to people. I'm like, what are you working on? How can I encourage you? Or I've been like, what can I hold you accountable to? When a friend is working on something, and it can be lonely in the like business world, in the entrepreneurial world, saying, what can I hold you accountable to like 3 friends each week means that you just like, all you're saying is, do you want me to check in? anything you really want to achieve that you want me to check in with. And like that check-in helps them to stay on focus, helps them to achieve. And ultimately when they achieve, it then gives you the thing you can then celebrate because they got there, just because of a bit of encouragement, a bit of accountability. And of course, a lot of people don't have it because they might work on their own or have a small agency where they don't have the corporate structure where it's got to hit these targets and all of that. So it can be really powerful to ask certain questions like, what can I celebrate? What are you working on? How can I hold you accountable? Or what can I encourage you with? And I've literally seen some businesses absolutely explode. I've seen them go from being really struggling, and I've spent like an hour on the phone with them, like just give, help, support. And then it's been incredible to watch them then change things. And it can just be that mindset shift. It can just be the check-in, just the change of mood, just the encouragement. Like, guys, you've got this. Here's how to reframe that and look at it differently. Some people just can't see it. When you're so thick in something, the friends, the people will step up and say, Gillian, I don't think you should post about that. I don't think that doesn't sit right. Like it comes across a bit odd, or like, I really love that. So on both sides, it's that doesn't look good and that looks really good. Do more of that. And that's what can encourage people into doing more of things.
I love that. I love that. And I like the voice notes too, and video notes as well. So that's good. So speaking of friends, let's pop into the comments and celebrate the friends who joined us today. So we have Jeff Young. It's great to have a friend, familiar relationship, inspiring, everything new and different. Woo! To celebrate on LinkedIn like Gillian and Tristan. Yay! That's a great one. That's a great one. John Asperian, I love the phrase font of knowledge. Oh, I don't see that one, but I think he's talking about you. He's talking, that was a prior comment. And isn't that a nice thing for somebody to say? You're a font of knowledge. I love that one. You're right. You're right. Great to be here. Looking forward to this. Woohoo. Thank you, Catherine. Hi, Gillian and Tristan from Phoenix. I always love my Phoenix buddies checking in. Even though I'm in Las Vegas, my heart is still in Phoenix. So I love it. I love it. Thanks. Hello from not so sunny UK. It's so sunny today here in Las Vegas. I'm just sending the sun everyone's way today.
It's blue skies where I am. I got blue skies and sunshine in my bit of the UK. We're right up in the north, just short of Scotland, and we're blue skies right now. So
wow, that's great. See, it's sunny and warm in New Mexico. So it's like, it really feels like spring has sprung and everybody's kind of like getting out and they're getting excited, and, people have bluebells in their yards and all sorts of stuff. So see, we have friends talking with friends. I always love that because it's like they're just back and forth, back and forth. They were on the live together this morning. So that was just awesome. So we got Kevin D. Turner. I'm here, Gillian and Tristan, so we can start now. I love that. I love that. We have Jane. Awesome advice. Celebrate other people to show up as the best version of yourself. I love that. That's so true. That's so true. I like that. And, I thinking of celebrating friends that, John Asperian, he's been doing his Friday shout, and that's something that celebrates somebody. I don't know how long he's been doing that now. He'll have to put that in the comment. I'm believing
a couple of hundred, isn't it? A couple of hundred weeks. So like, long time, number of like 4 or 5 years maybe.
I just love it. But it's something where he is putting the focus on people that he knows that are in good integrity, and they're good peeps. So and I love that he says, don't ask to be in the Friday shout. That's not the way it works, because everyone he does, you can kind of say, they got like a John verification check mark. So it's really awesome. It's really awesome.
I did see that. Talking about friends and friends showing up, like I can see some of the comments, like I had a quick scroll through, and John and Lois are actually watching whilst making dinner. They've made time to show up because their friends are about, right? So that's it. That's where you get the level of when people are connected. They go, right, oh, well, I'm doing something, but I'm still going to make some time to connect and to check in. Even if you're not there for the whole thing, drop in, connect, support, encourage. Yeah, really, really good.
And I think that's a really important thing about lives, is that like If you get an invitation to go to a live, or even if you just see that somebody is having a live, by just doing the accept, it's like it goes out to your network that you're going to the live. It like you see those little smiley faces under the lives that, you know, these people are going. Even if you can't make it, maybe you just pop in afterwards for the replay, or even if you can even pop in for 2 seconds to just wave and say hello, and then you just go your merry way. Don't ever feel I don't have an hour, I can't watch this whole live. This live's only 30 minutes. But it just makes you realize that it's kind of like you're giving it a thumbs up. You're supporting it. And I just think that's so important. So many friends here and so little time.
In answer to the question, John's just actually dropped a comment saying 5 years earlier this year of the Friday shout out. So he's been doing it for 5 years.
5 years. That's a long time. That's a long time. Love the messages of support that you send people, Tristan. It's so true to support people. You know, I send people, when I hear people are sick, like I like to celebrate birthdays. So I do positive things. I celebrate birthdays. If I see something going on, and usually I try and send people a video. If it's a good hair day, I'll send a video. Even if it's a bad day, I'll send a hair video. Sorry, if it's a bad hair day, I'll send a video, not a hair video. But anyways, but when people are sick, I try to make a concentrated effort to send them a get well wish, even if it's just like a little Bitmoji Gillian, you know, kind of with like chicken soup or rest up or something like that. It really helps people. It really helps people. Speaking of in the DMs, Tristan, do you introduce people? Do you do that with friends? Make introductions?
Yeah, so quite regularly. I've just done an introduction for someone who I was talking to them about general social content, and they said they wanted to go down the podcast route. And obviously we touch on it as part of our content model, but they really wanted to lean in and focus. And I've got a good friend, Suze Cooper, who's in the in one of the video series, the favorite tool series that we did. And she obviously focuses on doing podcasting. So I did an introduction there. Again, it doesn't matter whether it's by email or in a DM or whatever, having good people in your network will know what they do so you can introduce them to other people. Those referrals, I've actually got a t-shirt that's one of our own that says Trust Equity on it. And that trust, because of a friend introducing you. So if you're friends with that person and you say, this person is good, like you said, the John Experience pick, like if I'm recommending them, I'm transferring my trust with that person that I'm talking to directly to the person that I'm recommending. So it is literally like a currency. So if you build trust with people, you can either cash it in, do something together, or you can transfer it to other people. So you can say, this person is really good at what they do. I'll introduce you, you do the introduction, and then you leave them to do the business that they want to do.
I love that. I love that. And somebody did something yesterday that I thought was a really a kind way to do an introduction. They sent me a message yesterday and said, I wanted to make an introduction, but I wanted to get your permission first. And I just wanted to give you a little bit of the backstory of why I want to introduce you to them. And I wanted to make sure that you were okay with that in advance. And I thought that was very classy to kind of give me that, you know, a little bit of warning. And I said, of course, that would be fine. But it was really, I thought that was very nice. I really like that approach. What do you think about that?
It's also really good because they're checking in that you've got the capacity to be able to help them. There's no point recommending them, because if you recommend when the person is busy, so if I was like, oh, I'm going to recommend someone to Gillian, but you were at capacity, it would show that I knew you, but I didn't know where you were quite at. So it starts to show the disconnect. So if you're not sure, checking in with the person first before you do the introduction, very, like you said, very classy thing to do. And also it makes sure that they are ready for that introduction and that they can serve that person the best because you've equipped them with maybe a little bit more knowledge than the intro message might give them. Yep.
I like that. That's good. So we are almost out of time. And I always like to kind of wrap this up by, is there any sort of sage advice that you would give to all of this, I would say, first of all, go follow your hashtag, celebrate friends. So I'm encouraging everybody to follow that hashtag, because then you're going to go see all those tool tips that you did, because I think that had the hashtag celebrate friends. And I did one of them. And I thought that was an awesome series. But anyways, I'm going to stop talking. I want you to give some sort of sage advice, takeaways for everybody today on this topic.
So I'm a big believer in putting things into action to take the most away from it. You can sit and listen for half an hour, watch the video. But if you don't put it into action, you're not going to see the real fruit of it. So I'm going to challenge everybody who's watching this, whether it's live or on the replay, go and, like, literally for the next 4 weeks, just for the next month, each week, send 3 people a message and ask them, you know, what are you working on? What can I encourage with? What can I hold you accountable to? And it doesn't matter whether it's written or a video or a voice note, but do that for a whole month and watch what happens. Watch how those relationships build and strengthen, and listen. If you do a voice note, listen to how people respond, because not many people do it. It's quite easy to stay very much front of mind, to build the connection quickly when you genuinely care. I'm saying do this number over this many weeks. It's just to get you in a habit. Once you start doing that, you won't need a list. You won't need to think. You won't think about it. You'll just go, oh, I've got 5 minutes. I'll check in on John or Gillian or Gus or whoever it is, because it becomes a good habit.
I love that. That's great. Okay, I'm going to take on the challenge. And I will report in and let you know how it went. Maybe I'll write a post about it. So that would be kind of good for homework and I'll use the hashtag celebrate friends, and I'll refer back to this live. So I think it's a great go round circle. So that's super. Okay. Well, thank you for being here today, Tristan, and always love my little duck. He gives me courage when I do my live. So I love having him nearby, and just thank you. I know you sent him to me. So that was awesome. So thank you for being here. Thank everybody for being here today. It was great. And we'll see you all again next time. Okay. Bye, everybody.